Hey guys, I'm Daisho, and today I'm going to be commentating over a draft that I did a couple of weeks ago now, I guess. And I opened a pretty sick pack. I've got an Aurelia, I pass a 1000 Lashes, Shamble Shark, Hands of Binding, but really Aurelia is the only relevant card in this pack. 1000 Lashes, I guess, is pretty important because I could be putting my neighbor into Orzhov pretty heavily, and somebody along the line is going to take that card. I mean, it's just a really, really sick card, and somebody's got to take it because it's just outstanding. Anyway, this next pack is not so Boros. The only Boros cards are a Martial Glory, a Debtor's Pulpit, or a Foundry Street Denizen, I guess. And those are really the only Boros cards. The other two relevant cards, I don't think there's really anything else even remotely good in this pack, are Zertos Wine and Call of the Nightwing. So I don't really want to play a Zertos Wine in a Boros deck because I like it to be more aggressive than that. Though I guess I could have thought of making like a mid-rangey Naya deck where Aurelia is like the top and Zertos Wines are like the top end. But either way, I don't like splashing in my Boros deck, so I decided to just go Call the Nightwing to hedge because I'm drafting with a bunch of people who I know, and the person to the right of me usually drafted Boros. I think he had never drafted anything else before this, so I was expecting him to be in Boros, but I decided to take the Aurelia anyway, obviously because it's money and because it's awesome. Anyway, this is my third pick, and I see a True Fire Paladin, so seeing this is pretty much guarantee that my neighbor is not in red-white, but down the road there could be more people in red-white. As it turned out, the person who opened that pack also opened a Frontline Medic. So we decided to take that instead, which is reasonable. Then this pack, again, really doesn't have much in red or white. I mean, it's got an Urbis Protector, but as I just said, I don't really like to play the top end in my Boros decks, and starting out with 2 out of my first 3 picks in my colors with 6 drops is really not where I want to be. So I'm going to hedge again, and I'm going to take a Dimir Charm. And now this pack is really bad for me. There's just nothing here. I mean, there's green cards that are okay. There's an Executioner Swing. I could take a Night Watch, but it's not really the card that I want to be taking this early on in the draft. So after the first 5 picks of this draft, I'm just going to take a Prism. I'm really not sure where I'm going. I want to be Boros because those cards are way, way, way better, but at the same point, I don't think that's reasonable. So here I see a Shamble Shark, a Devour Flesh, a Zamek Guildmage, and a Sapphire Drake. So seeing the Zamek Guildmage could have just like put off some alarm bells saying, "Hey Daisho, jump into Simic," but instead I decided to go with my cards that I already had and take a Devour Flesh, which is not so much less powerful. I think it's about as powerful. And I'm just going to grab a Hands of Binding, I guess over a Corpse Blockade. And I'm pretty sure I'm in Dimir right now. I like the 2 cards that I got early, but I feel like they were just kind of flukes and I couldn't really fit into that archetype. But as you see here, it looks like Gruul is still really open. I mean, there's a Burning Tree Emissary tabling. I'm just going to nab a Corpse Blockade. So I definitely had choices to go into different colors. Here, there's a Guildgate, a Night Watch, and a Zerichi Tiger. So the Night Watch and the Tiger are both tabled, which means that maybe white is a little bit underdrafted. But there's also like a Midnight Recovery, which is really not the card that I want to be taking. I don't even ever want to play this card. It's not the worst card in Magic, but it's just nothing that I want to be doing. And then here's a Foundry Street Denizen and a Disciple of the Old Ways. So the Disciple could have just been, again, another alarm bell going off in the head. Hey, Daisho, you can still jump into Gruul. It's not too late. Adaptive Snap draws another green card. So, I mean, after the first pack, I'm really not happy with what's going on, and I don't know what's happening. I mean, I've tried out 2 guilds, and neither of them are working out. It seems like I chose the only 2 guilds that weren't good because everything else, I mean, it's not flowing to the point where I know that I should be jumping into another color, but there are definitely some signs. So, yeah, anyway, these last 2 picks aren't all that important. Predator's Report and a Contaminated Ground, I think. Anyway, this pack I end up opening, what do I open? Undercity Plague. Yeah, that card's pretty terrible. But the other cards of note are a Daring Skyjack, a Zertos Wine, a Death's Approach, and a Dustmantle Guildmage, as well as a Keymaster Rogue. And since I already had a couple of Cypher cards, I think I ended up going with the Keymaster Rogue. Though if I had to do it again, I would have definitely taken the Death's Approach. I just didn't really give that card enough credit, and I mean, I'm coming around to it a little bit, but I still don't think it's the best removal spell. I think it's okay, and it's definitely better than a Keymaster Rogue. You're really not a fan of this card. I've liked it at some points, but I mean, it's just eh. That's really all it is. So, unfortunately, even the pack where I should be getting a lot of Dimir, since I was cutting any of the Dimir that was actually going by, the first 2 picks of the draft or of the pack are really bad. I get a Keymaster Rogue and Agoraphobia out of it. And here, I think I may have made the wrong decision. I didn't take the Death Approach. I could have taken it, but instead I took the Throw Parasite. Throw Parasite's a good card, but the quality removal is pretty important. So anyway, now there's a few good cards. I mean, there's a Psychic Strike and a Metropolis Sprite. Not a huge fan of Rapid Hybridization, unless I'm in Simic, where I can also get the extra value of evolving my creatures, like destroying one of my creatures and then getting a 3/3 evolving my guys. But I take the Metropolis Sprite just, again, because I had some Cypher cards, and I guess I think I can pick up some Last Thoughts later on, and I wanted to get some cards that can actually get in. Anyway, there's like, this is where I'm actually getting rewarded a little bit. I mean, these 5th and 6th pick really good Dimir cards that I'm seeing. I mean, there's a Sapphire Drake as well as a Basilica Screecher in this pack, but again, I'm just taking the cheap flyer for the Extort benefits. Not the Extort, for the Cypher benefits. I do end up picking a couple of Cypher, like a Last Thoughts here, I think. Not sure if that was right. I could have taken a Psychic Strike or even maybe a Leyline Phantom, but I was just like, yeah, I really want to get a Cypher card here. But I mean, Last Thoughts is okay. And then here's just a really late Death Cult Rogue. There's also a shoot, I forgot what card that was. Death Approach. There was another Death Approach in that pack. And that would have been a sweet card to have in my deck, but I just passed up on 3 of them, and I should have taken at least 1 of them. I mean, I don't know over which card. Probably Death Coat Rogue was the best card I've taken, but so probably over Keymaster Rogue, I guess. But anyway, that makes it a good amount of unblockable that I've got in this deck. I don't have such powerful removal at this point. The Dust Mantle Guildmage tables, which I was surprised. I was expecting the Death Approach table over that, but I guess somebody in Orzhov took the Death Approach, and the Guildmage was pretty much not wanted at all. Anyway, I'm going to grab a Spell Rupture here. I don't usually main deck that card, but I don't know, I can. Shadow Slice is fine. I'm very happy to play 1 or 2 of these in my deck, which really surprised me later on in the draft, where I just pass up on one for pretty much no reason, and I thought I was going to take it. Second to last pick, Leyline Phantom, again, is pretty sweet, and then last pick, Primal Visitation, is not too important. But again, I don't really open anything outstanding for my deck. I mean, I don't even think I want to play the stupid Biomass Mutation. I'm not going to take a Paranoid Delusions or a Leyline Phantom, especially after just getting a second to last pick one. And anyway, I mean, I do have a few flyers, so a Biomass Mutation might just be able to win me a couple of games. But it's also just not worth giving it to someone else and taking a Shadow Alley Denizen or something stupid like that over it. Anyway, now that we're most of the way through the draft, I guess I can spoil it. The guy to my right was in Dimir, so he was just cutting me off packs 1 and 3 completely. And 2 to my right was in Boros, and then at the beginning of the draft, 3 to my right was also in Boros. So there was all of the Boros was just getting choked out of the first pack, but then that dude switched into 5 color, I think. So if I ended up playing... Oh, and also the guy to my left was in Boros. So there was really no chance that I was ever going to get to play that Aurelia. Unfortunate, but it happens. And the guy to my right was in Dimir. I don't know why I didn't see that. The Call of the Nightwing, he took a Mind Grind over it. And the Dimir Charm, he took another card, I don't remember which one, over it. But either way, it just didn't work out for me. And the deck that I ended up in was actually pretty terrible. And this is why I'm really surprised that I saw Wrecking Ogre in this pack. I don't know what the guy to my right took instead of it. But anyway, I'm just going to grab a Prism here, not sure why. And then I get past this Denrova Horror. So this was definitely really surprising to me that my neighbor was in Dimir. But he was in Dimir Mill, and I was just in like Cypher Dimir. So we have some differences in our decks, and that must be where all the Death Approaches went, because he was trying to mill people out and kill their guys, I guess. But I think that makes 2 Hands of Bindings and 2 Last Thoughts. I don't have a ton of flying in evasion and stuff, but I do have a decent amount. I didn't really put any consideration into playing that Shadow Alley Denizen. I don't really know how good that card is, but I think it's better than people give it credit for. Anyway, I give this super late Demir Charm, and again, it's just really confusing. But I think my neighbor to my right was just taking any Sages or Denizen that he could find. This pack, I mean, there's another Hands of Binding, but there's no way I'm going to play that. So I need to take a quick look through my pack to see what I've got going on in like the 4 and 5 drop range. And really not much, so I decided to go with the Horror of the Dim. It's not the worst card ever, and it's really good if my opponent's playing a super heavy removal deck. But yeah, it's an okay card. And then here I'm just going to grab a Paranoid Delusions, I think. I could take the Gargoyle, which is fine. I could take the Shadow Denizen, which is fine. Oh, I do take the Gargoyle. I could have taken the Delusions, though, and then just had to, or not, tried to use that as a win condition or something like that. Take a Beckon Apparition here. It's not so bad. It could help with the ciphering. And then here, I take a Scatter Arc over a Shadow Slice, and that was definitely wrong. I should have grabbed the Shadow Slice, and that would have given my deck a lot more oomph, because if, I mean, as you guys will be able to see, this deck just really isn't powerful enough, and I forgot to upload the deck afterwards, but I will do that in a separate video. But anyway, that's going to be it. I'm just going to end up drafting a couple of more useless cards at the end, and yeah, that's about it. So I hope you all enjoyed, and stay tuned for the games. Have a nice day. Bye.